Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, very popular, very expensive fragrance. It smells great, very unisex, one of the best cherry dominant fragrances out there. What if I told you you could get pretty much the same thing for a fraction of the cost? Today we're talking about from Samy Andraus Fragrances, it's Fruity Seduction. Stay tuned. So this is one of the newest releases from Samy. I've been testing it. I actually did a full wearing yesterday on this one as well. I'll actually give you the note breakdown instead of putting it on screen. It's right here on the bottle. So I can just bring it right here for you. It's cherry, almond, liqueur, plum, and sandalwood. So what do I get from it? In the top of this one, obviously, it's going to be extremely fruity. You're getting a lot of cherry. The sandalwood offers a bit of creaminess. It's got a fruity sweetness, obviously, because plum is a very sweet fruit in fragrances. And the cherry as well, they mix to make just this fruity. Fruity is such a good word for it. I'm glad he named it Fruity Seduction because it is kind of a sexy fragrance. This is definitely geared for both genders. This is not super feminine, but far from a masculine fragrance as well. It's right on that tightrope. The sandalwood adds a creaminess to it. I don't really get a ton of the liqueur. It does have kind of a little bit of a boozy aspect in the background, but it doesn't really just jump out at me. The almond and sandalwood really give this thing a creaminess. So it's fruity and creamy, essentially. And as it starts to dry down, the almond actually lends itself to get a little bit powdery, at least on my skin. Just a tiny little bit, not much. It maintains the fruitiness. The cherry does stay pretty much through the entire duration of this fragrance. And it's not extremely nuanced or anything like that. It's not a complex fragrance. It's not a extreme note breakdown. It's relatively linear, not completely linear. What you get in the top is not what's going to be in the deep dry down, but it doesn't change a whole lot. I do find that that little bit of booziness goes away after a few hours, and the plum kind of dissipates, and it's really just cherry, almond, and sandalwood is really what I have in the deep dry down, and barely any cherry. It's mostly a creaminess and sandalwood, which sandalwood's a creamy note in most fragrances in most cases. This is a gorgeous scent. If you've ever sampled Tom Ford's Lost Cherry or were interested in that one, you might want to look into Fruity Seduction because it's a fraction of the cost. I think it's $25 for this 30 ml bottle, and I have a 10% off code down in the description for you to use to save 10% if you're interested in fragrances like this. Now, as far as the performance, it's a 10-hour fragrance on my skin easily. It's an extrait de parfum concentration, as you can see at the bottom of the label. And then these are stock bottles, but I do like the way these wraparound labels are. You know, it's a beautiful scent. It really is. And it lasts all day. Oh, this is so good. God, this is so good. If you like cherry in a fragrance, this is a must-have. It really is. Because Tom Ford's are very expensive, as you know. This has similar projection to what you would expect from a Tom Ford fragrance. It's not filling a room, but it's very pronounced in the first few hours. I would say in the first 2 to 3 hours. It'd be very easy for people to smell you. That was my experience with my wife and my in-laws. We actually went to eat dinner at my in-laws, and I was wearing this, and it had been like 7 hours into me wearing this when we had went. My mother-in-law smelled me as soon as I was walking up through the front door. So it's very pronounced, very long-lasting. Performance is definitely a strength of this fragrance, and it smells incredible. Final thoughts on this one. Samy Andraus Fragrances, Fruity Seduction is an absolute must-try. Is it a must-buy? No. You have to like extremely fruity, cherry-dominated notes. You got to like something like a Tom Ford Lost Cherry because that's what this is supposed to be similar to. If you don't like that, you won't like this. But if you like super fruity, cherry-dominated scents that get creamy and a little tiny bit powdery, Fruity Seduction is definitely going to be a must-try for you from the house of Samy Andraus Fragrances. This is definitely in the top 10. I believe Samy's got around 23, 24 fragrances now or something like that. But this is definitely in the top 10. I would, dare I say, even in the top 5 for me. Maybe I may have to do a top 10 Samy Andraus Fragrances video to rank these for you guys, but this is definitely one of my favorites, and it's one of his newer releases. And like I said, it's a must-try. Is it a must-buy? No, it's not the greatest fragrance of all time, and it's not the greatest that he offers, but it is definitely one of the the best that he offers. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have already tried this? This has been out for a little while now, about a month, roughly. 3 weeks to a month. And it's beautiful. It's a very, very good fragrance. I'm super happy to have this one. I do have the entire collection from Samy, and this is one of my favorites, like I said. Link down below if you want to check it out with a 10% off code. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on Fruity Seduction from Samy Andraus Fragrances and you give it a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. As long as you like cherry. Have a good one, guys.